Welcome to our presentation, our lightning lunch presentation on course analytics. A little Zoom etiquette overview. Make sure you mute yourself if you're not speaking, close down your video, participate. You can ask questions in the Q&A document that's in the chat window, and just note that this meeting is being recorded. So the little format is I'm going to talk for about 10-15 minutes and present and demo Canvas Analytics. And then at the end of it, we'll open it up to your questions. And in the meantime, feel free to use the document in the chat box that we'll post to ask your questions while I'm speaking. That's fine too. Welcome newcomers. Just a reminder to the newcomer that we are recording this presentation, just so you know. I'm Lucy Walski. I'm an instructional design specialist for the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. I work for the School of Geographical Sciences and Urban Planning. And with me, helping me today is Jen Mansfield. Jen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm an instructional designer with the Colleges of Engineering, so I can be a point of contact for any engineering faculty out there who may have questions related to Canvas, course design, what resources are available to Fulton faculty, and the like.
Awesome, thank you. And she'll be answering the questions in the Q&A document that's posted in the chat bar. So today I will be covering an overview of analytics, talking about new analytics and old analytics, focusing on student analytics and how you can send messages based off of and from the analytics interface. So our focus today is what can Canvas tell us about our students? And to define analytics, I'm not even going to try. This presentation is focused on student analytics, and those show you how well a particular student is doing in your course. So why would we want to use them? First, to see how effective our teaching strategies are in helping students learn, and to identify which students are at high risk and might need some help, and to check in to get an overview of what your students are achieving in your course. So for the purposes of this presentation, again, I'm not covering all of analytics, but in course analytics, the four main sections are activity, submissions, grades, and student analytics. So activity will show page views and participation. Submissions will show you if a student submits early, on time, late, or not at all. Grades will show you a nice box and a whisker plot of grade distribution. And student analytics will show you all these things: page views, participations, assignments, current score for every individual student in your course. So what do we mean by participation? What are we measuring? So Canvas counts participation as any of these things. So if a student posts a comment to an announcement, submits an assignment, not everyone uses these collaborations or conferences, but if you did, those would count as participation. If a student loads a document in collaborations or joins a web conference, for sure it counts if someone posts a new comment to a discussion. If someone creates a page, again, students wouldn't be creating pages, but TAs or course designers. And if a student starts taking a quiz and or submits a quiz, those count as participation. So when we say page views, what we're saying is we're guessing. It's an approximation, and it's valuable if you want to find out if a student did view a page. Like, did you even read the instructions? You can answer that question with page views, but more often than not, it's used as a comparison across other students. So the average student accessed this, weekly activity was 20 page views, but this student had 1. Maybe there's a reason to contact that student to ask if they need any help. Okay, so I'm just going to throw a curveball at you right off the bat. There's new analytics. It's fairly recently. I'm not sure when it happened. I know some people know. Abigail would know. But some features of it is that it updates every 24 hours. It has interactive chart graphs and interactive data tables. And you can message students directly from here based on a specific course grade or participation criteria. And it does include page views from across devices. So if they access it from their phone or their tablet or their desktop, those page views will count. So to turn it on, it's optional. It's just 3 steps. You go to settings, then you go to feature options, and then you go to new course and user analytics. And then once you've done that, you have to wait 24 hours. Nothing will happen right away, and it's just because it syncs every 24 hours. But once it syncs, you'll have a button on your home page in the far right here that says New Analytics. And you'll also have a button over here in your navigation that says New Analytics, and that's not viewable by students. All right, so let's say you've decided to turn on New Analytics. I mean, no pressure for me. You can if you want to. And then you open it up from your homepage by pushing on New Analytics. And now you can look at individual students' activities in analytics. So in this example, you're going to look at Emily Boone. You can click on her. Right at the first glance, you can see what her current percentage in the course is. You can message her directly using this envelope icon. And you can scroll through your other students by using the previous and next buttons. But then once you click on her, you'll get a page of all her analytics, and at the top of the page is her activity. So this is an activity by date graph, and I think you can toggle it back and forth between the graph and the data table. And then if you want details, you just hover over the bar, and you'll get some more details just by hovering over the bar. Oh, and just note that over time, it'll change. So like it'll turn to like monthly activities after 6 months. You know, after a couple of weeks, it'll turn to weekly activity. It just tried to make it more useful. You don't need to see every single daily activity forever, you know, especially once a course closes. These analytics are still available to you after a course closes, but there'll be more summary data. So then you scroll down on this page and you'll get to the communication analytics. So this communication graph shows the conversations that's taking place between you, the instructor, and the student. And then again, if you want more details, you just hover over. And then you can also, I was going to say message students directly, but that's just not here, just higher up on the page. And then if you scroll down a little more, you'll see the student submissions. And this will show, you know, the time that was submitted and whether it was on time, late, missing, or upcoming. And then again, you hover over it with your mouse to get more information on it. And then keep in mind that this doesn't count anything that's not graded or turned in on paper or anything that's excused. Those won't show up in the analytics. It only counts for assignments that require a submission. And then if you keep scrolling down on the page, you'll see the grades. So I have to confess, I don't know how to read. What are these box and whisker plots? I don't know. You know what? I'm going to learn. I'm in quarantine. I'm going to learn how to read these graphs. But the same rules apply. If you just hover over it, you'll get some more information. And it breaks it down into percentiles. Yeah. Okay. So now I want to talk about sending messages just based on analytics. And before I do, you can do it without analytics. So I'm sure some of you already know that you could just use the grade book to message students who meet a particular criteria. So this slide is not about analytics. This is just from your grade book. You click on the 3 vertical dots, I call it the snowman, and then you click on message students who. And then you can choose if you want to message people who haven't submitted yet, something that hasn't been graded yet, scored less than or more than a designated point value. So what it will look like to the students is an individual message, but from you as the instructor, it will compile all of the students that meet that criteria and send that message at the same time. So it's useful to say, you know, hey, congrats, this group, you did really well on your first essay. Just wanted to say I really enjoyed reading your papers. Or you can say, hey, I see you haven't submitted this assignment yet. It is coming up. Let me know if you need anything. Those kinds of messages.
Lucy?
Okay, so that was from the grade book, but you can also do it from analytics.
Lucy?
Yes.
Real quick, we had a question back to, you had the communication bubbles between the instructor and the student. Is there I'm guessing there's not, but not a way to see student to student communication?
No, I think it's
I'm
just,
sure that's a privacy type thing, or?
I don't know why, but I think it's just student and instructor. And there's also a report you can pull. It's called the Student Interactions Report, and you can do it from People, that People box and then a link in the navigation menu. So that's for a whole nother day, but you might get more information from that than in the analytics. So we talked about how to send message students who from the gradebook. You can also message students who from the analytics. And here you can set the range of scores, 0 to 60. I might send, retakes and extra credit is available. Email me to discuss your options. That was just an example I came up with, but I might even cast a wider net, 0 to 90. And the same thing with missing or late assignments. If they're missing or if it's late, you can say, hey, I'll accept submissions up to Friday. Please let me know if you need any help. And then you can message an individual student from the analytics too. So if you're in there and you're viewing and you're seeing some people who might need reaching out, you can do it directly from there. And there's a lot more that I'm not going to go into, but I just wanted to show you this table of contents from Canvas Community that you can look about the interactive chart graphs and average course grade analytics. So this was just high level overview, but I will link to this in the bottom of the presentation. And I know we're running up on our time, but I wanted to just share the old analytics. If you do nothing, if you do not enable the new analytics, you can still see the old analytics. If you go to People, click on the person and then go to Analytics. And I also believe, I'm 80% sure you can also get it from the home page. And instead of saying New Analytics, it says View Analytics. And it's just got some, yeah, Abigail agrees, that's correct, okay. And it's just got some of the same features, the activity, communication, submissions, and grades, perhaps not as interactive, but you can still toggle between the chart and the data tables. And I wanted to point out some reasons why you'd want to use these. You can proactively reach out before a due date based on page views. So if you have a page that sets up what the assignment is and you've noticed that Jane Doe hasn't looked at this page yet, you can actually reach out to her and say, hey, a lot of our students have already written their first page of this 3-page paper. Just wanted to check in and make sure you're on track, or if there's any help you need. That's the proactive way of using analytics. You can also be reactive. So once it's missed the due date, you can reach out and say, hey, the due date was last Tuesday. I will accept it up until next Tuesday if you, for full points if you want. And then another way to use it is a check-in. So you could build a assignment in your course that just says, how you doing? And you can see how many people looked at that assignment, how many people filled out that assignment, just, I don't know. I haven't really fully thought that idea through. And I'm also open to hearing what other ideas you guys have for when to reach out, because I will steal your ideas and I will use them. So with that, I'm going to open it up to you guys if you have any questions or ideas. And then I'll also share these resources with you. I'll email them to you. There's not too many of you. Any questions?
Lucy, for switching over to New Analytics, is it like New Gradebook to where once you go there, you can't go back? I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but.
No, you can turn it off.
Yeah, because I know once you go to the New Gradebook, you are in the New Gradebook.
Yeah, and that also came with that most recent update, back in January. But yeah, you can toggle it on and off.
Okay.
Do you guys have any other ideas for when to reach out to students based on analytics?
Well, I think definitely it's a great idea if you know an assignment is coming up due, or a high stakes thing, or even for an exam, if you set a page in the course giving kind of instructions for how to do the exam, especially if you've been teaching online or face-to-face this whole time, and this is going to be a new experience for students. If you can go in and see page views for that and see that only 2 students have looked at it, you know they're going to get to the moment right before the exam and freak out and things are going to go wrong. So you can reach out and say, no, really. Or even, you know, ideally you would set up a practice exam and you could see how many had done it and email all those who had not done it.
Yeah, that's the proactive approach, right? To avoid problems before they happen.
Abigail says students who haven't logged in with a certain time, within a certain time period. So you can, I know we have a lot of students that are traveling right now, especially internationally, having to have gone home. And so they may have reasons for it, but then you know, rather than just assuming that they're
Yeah, that will show up in the activity section, and you can compare it to the other people in the class. So you'll see your outliers, you know, you'll see the people who haven't checked in at all this week. And those are the people you want to reach out to and say, hey, this is coming up. This is available. Would you like to meet? You know, you can offer some options to them just based on them not participating in the class.
Yeah.
Yeah, reminding them, like Abigail says, that checking in regularly is essential for success. You know, we are almost done. We've got, what, 3 more weeks left, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those kinds of messages, I think, will go a long way with helping students.
Yeah, Lucy, I was going to point this out. I don't know if the new analytics can do this or not, but is it possible to be able to kind of support students who are struggling in a class? Maybe like seeing what aspect they need, like maybe more resources with. I don't know if it can do that. I was just wondering.
What was your last part? More resources?
Yeah, so kind of like you being able to see who's struggling in a class.
Yeah, it definitely can, because let's say you, the average grade of exam 2 was 73. Then you could reach out to anybody who got below 73 using the message students who, and using the, what do they call it? Criteria, points. I forget what they call it. Oh yeah, the point value. And
Okay.
you could reach out to just those people who did well or just those people who didn't do well and custom your message that way. And again, they won't see who else didn't do well. It will look like an individual message to them.
Okay.
Yeah, you could definitely put links in there or videos, or maybe even a link to an optional assignment where they can earn back some points.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I like the idea of being able to earn back points. In fact, I just had a conversation with my Monday crew about that. Several students have realized that they missed a couple of assignments last month. It wasn't quite as stringent last month, obviously, with all the changes, in my case, students going from a face-to-face to an online course. So I extended the window for uploading those particular assignments. The other thing that I'm finding to be really helpful, especially this month, is going over my calendar with them from the student view during that share screen point, and then making sure that everybody knows what the assignments are due this particular month. And you know, and having some time right after I present that as in a whole group Zoom room to address any concerns about any particular assignment. And then I go right into my virtual hour with them afterwards. And usually that's when I seem to be able to catch some of them right afterwards, as opposed to waiting for an email a week or 2 later, like, oh wait, what did we do? I forgot, right? It seems to be really helping in some ways. So for my students, this online environment, I think, is making them a little bit more sensitive and aware. But at the same time, this last month, a lot of them are kind of tiring out, mostly seniors in this case, and they're just trying to keep going right up until the end of the month.
Well, and I like how you said you show them the student view. I think a lot of instructors forget to do that, and it looks different to students. And so they may come to something and be like, wait a minute, I'm confused. And you're like, it's clear.
Right. Good point, Jennifer.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. That's wonderful. There's also a way in Canvas to set a late policy. So maybe, you know, instructors would want to change their late policy for the students who were abruptly changed to online, and who might need a little bit more flexibility. This was a great discussion. I'm really glad you guys helped me out with this. Thank you.
We're glad you spearheaded it and helped, bring the topic up. I'm sure more people can benefit from this. So as we go out into our different units to help spread the good word.
Thank you, Jen. I like you a lot. Thank you. So I'll post this video on the YouTube channel once it's ready, and I'll share these links. It seems like there's a lot of choices. So just to simplify the choices, I would say turn on new analytics. There's no harm. You can turn it back off if you don't like it. And that way you don't have to mess with which feature has which,
Right.
little nuances. Just turn on new analytics. Use the gradebook to message students but just kind of keep checking in on how your course is doing through new analytics.
And Lucy, once you post it to the YouTube, maybe we can go back to the description for the session and put the link there, just because the YouTube channel isn't widely published yet. We're just starting it, but
Great idea. I will do that.
to it. We'll figure out ways to share it.
Thank you all for attending. I really appreciate you. Yeah, that's my sign off. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. I just wanted to say I'm so sorry that I popped in a little bit late. I'd been playing with the different background views in Zoom, and I know I need to get a green screen. So hopefully I didn't frighten everyone when I popped in and you saw one of my background screens that I was tinkering with in the right between this session and a previous session. So
Not a problem.
I didn't notice.
okay, appreciate that. Thanks. Thanks for your help today. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucy.